One question I often get when I'm seeing breast augmentation patients is concerning the safety of the silicone gel implant. And I'm often amazed that at this date and time, this controversy continues to go on. I think this all goes back to the implant moratorium that the FDA issued in 1992 following an investigative journalist piece on the silicone gel implants and the toxicities that were supposedly being seen from the silicone gel implants. This led to a moratorium that lasted for several decades, well, a decade and a half anyways, with the silicone gel implants being taken off the market. This was followed by several huge retrospective studies that were done in this country by several major institutions, Harvard, Mayo Clinic, where they're looking at the association of silicone gel implants and the toxicity that was allegedly being caused by the silicone gel implants. Primarily, initially this was collagen vascular disease, but it morphed into immunologic disease, myasthenia gravis, anything that the trial lawyers and the journalists could stick to it, and even led to a disease that never existed called human adjuvant disease. Well, towards the end of the 90s, most of these big studies were being finished up, and there was no association with silicone gel implants and all of these alleged toxicities. At the same time, there was a huge class action lawsuit against Dow Corning, who is the main producer of the silicone gel implants before the moratorium. And the judge in this case initially appointed a panel of experts to review all of this literature. And the panel of experts did, and they found no association of silicone gel with any of this phenomenon. And that was followed very shortly by the American College of Rheumatologists and the Institute of Medicine, all coming out with similar rulings. And this was all the late 90s. And so the silicone gel implant manufacturers had to reintroduce new data to get the implants back on the market. And there were several clinical trials that went on. And in the final stages of the trial where the implants were being used, I was even one of the multiple investigators that were part of these trials. And all of this data was finally resubmitted to the FDA. And by now we're getting into the late 1990s, early 2000s. And in the end, in 2011, the FDA did issue a white paper in which they said there is no association of any of these problems, systemic toxicity, with silicone gel implants. And we use silicone gel implants very commonly in the United States now. In fact, that's most of what we use. One of the things I find interesting, this was a purely American phenomenon. This was never seen anywhere else in the world. There was never any implant moratorium in Canada, Europe, Mexico, South America. It was purely an American phenomenon.